Warning, there are people pretending to be me in the comments. This is what a comment from me looks like. Notice that the name is spelled perfectly, and notice the border around the name. That's how you know it's from me. You can also click on my name to make sure you actually go to my channel to double check. And this is what a comment from an imposter will look like. It has weird characters in the name or comment, and it's usually going to ask you to add them on WhatsApp or Telegram. I don't have WhatsApp or Telegram, and I would never ask you to add me on there. All right, so please be careful, use your common sense, and now let's get back to the video. Hey, how's it going, GPU heads? Thanks for clicking on my video. Seb Heslo here. And guys, we're gonna do another deep dive in terms of mining on a GPU today. Except it's not gonna be on one GPU. We're gonna be testing 3 GPUs and comparing them in terms of mining ability. So that is going to be the 1660 regular, the 1660 Ti, and the 1660 Super. And we're gonna compare them in terms of mining hash rate, best efficiency, what is the overclock settings gonna look like, more on that later, and what is the profitability and how much power do they consume. And so we're gonna be testing that on Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Ravencoin, FIRO, Ergo, and Flux. Just like we have in this video series that I've got going on the channel currently, where I'm doing sort of deep dives in terms of mining capability on loads of current, GPUs. I've done all of the RTX 30 series already, and now we're getting into the 16 series here. And so after watching this video, if you do feel like one of these GPUs is the one for you, I will leave links in the description where you can go and buy them. Now, full disclosure, of course, those will be affiliate links, which means that if you do make a purchase through those links, the channel does get a small commission at no extra cost to you. And just before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about overclock settings. Now, I will be showing you my overclock settings for these 3 GPUs in the video. However, you shouldn't just copy my overclock settings, because each graphics card is unique and needs its own unique overclock settings. But you don't have to worry, because I have actually made a full video guide on how to overclock your GPUs no matter what coin you're mining. So I'll leave a link for that video up in the corner over there, as well as in the description of this video. But with that out of the way, let's hop on over to the computer and compare these 3 GPUs. Alright guys, so we are over on the computer now, and I have the 3 GPUs up and mining. But just before we start having a look at things, some of you guys always want to see the GPU-Z statistics for the GPU. So here you can see the 1660. It has Samsung memory. We have our 1660 Super, also with Samsung memory, and then we have our Ti, which has Micron memory. So should be somewhat fair in terms of comparison. And yeah, now let's start having a look at Ethereum hash rate, right? So I actually have the GPUs all up and mining here. And just quickly, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, they basically use the same algorithm. So, in terms of hash rate, overclock settings, efficiencies, all of that things will be exactly the same for both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So we don't need to test for both of them. And what I will do is now we'll go through all of these coins and try all the different overclock settings together. Well, I'll be trying all the different overclock settings and then tell you what the best ones were for me and the results. And then in the end, we'll have a look at all 3 cards and compare all of the results we got for, the 3 cards on all of the 6 different coins that we're gonna mine today. And then finally have a look at profitability for these cards on the different coins, basically. So that is what we're gonna be doing today. And let's start by having a look at Ethereum, right? So we're mining Ethereum on all just stock settings right now. And we're getting 21.1 mega hash on the 1660 at a power draw of 83 watts for an efficiency of 257 kilohashes per watt. We are doing a whopping 27.5 mega hash on the Super at 93 watts for an efficiency of 299 kilohash per watt. And we are doing 25.6 mega hash at 97 watts on the Ti for an efficiency of 264 kilohashes per watt. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start power limiting with the stock clocks in place and see what the best efficiency we can get is that way. Alright, so best efficiency was basically with power limit pulled all the way down to 53% on all 3 cards, where we didn't lose anything in terms of hash rate. So, you know, same hash rates for all the cards. However, power on all cards is now around 70 watts, which gives us an efficiency for 306 kilohash per watt on the 1660, 399 kilohash per watt on the Super, and 371 kilohash per watt on the TI. But now let's put power limit back to 100% and let's start overclocking to see what the highest hash rate we can get is. Alright, so highest Ethereum hash rates that I was able to get on these cards were 24.7 mega hash for the 1660 at 86 watts for an efficiency of 290 kilohash per watt, 32.7 for the Super at 100 watts for giving us 327 kilohash per watt, and then 30.61 on the TI at a power of 107 watts for an efficiency of 286 kilohash per watt. And the overclock settings are, you can see the TI on the screen here, this is the Super, and this is the regular. Now let's start power limiting at these overclocks and see what the best efficiency we can get with the overclocks in place is. Okay, so basically same as before, just pulling the power limit all the way down to 53% on all 3 GPUs resulted in the best efficiency for all of them. So we are getting 24.7 mega hash on the regular at 69 watts for an efficiency of 357 kilohash per watt. We're getting 32.1 or so mega hash on the Super at 70 watts for an efficiency of 464 kilohash per watt, and we're getting 30.9 mega hash on the TI, so that actually increased a little bit at a power of 70 watts for an efficiency of 448 kilohash per watt. But now I want to try to lock the core clock instead and see if that gives us a better result. Alright, so best efficiency with locked core clock on all these 3 cards were actually pretty good. So we are getting 24.7 on the 1660 at just 56 watts for an efficiency of 440 kilo hash per watt. On the Super, we're getting 32.7 mega hash at 69 watts for an efficiency of 481 kilo hash per watt, which is really good. And then on the TI, we're getting 31.1 or so at 69 watts for an efficiency of 450 kilohash per watt. So they're all doing really good, like in the mid to high 400 kilohashes per watt basically. And the core clocks are 1300 for the 1660 regular, 1050 for the Super, and 900 for the TI. But that is it for Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So let's move on over to Ravencoin and FIRO. Alright, so when it comes to Ravencoin and FIRO, what is cool for us is that we don't actually have to test both of them because they have very similar algorithms. You know, Ravencoin with their CorePow algorithm and FIRO with their FIROPow algorithm, which are both just slight variations of the ProgPow algorithm. So I just need to test Ravencoin, and then we will know that all of the hash rates, efficiencies, overclock settings, all of that will be exactly the same for FIRO as well. But let's have a look at what we got here mining Ravencoin at all just SOC settings on the GPUs here. So we're getting around 10.8 mega hash on the 1660 regular at a power consumption of 116 watts or so for an efficiency of 94 kilohash per watt. We've got the Super at 14.4 mega hash at 126 watts for an efficiency of 113 kilohash per watt. And finally we have the TI at 15.4 and that's pulling 129 watts for an efficiency of 119 kilohash per watt. But now, of course, I'm going to power limit these GPUs so we can see what the best efficiency we can get at stock clocks is. Alright, so best efficiencies at stock clocks are in, and that is at, let's see here, 53% power limit on the 1660, 55% on the Super, and 60% on the TI. And that's giving us 10.6 mega hash at 69 watts for an efficiency of 154 kilohash per watt on the regular. We're getting 11.14 mega hash at 70 watts on the Super for an efficiency of 159 kilohash per watt. And we're getting 11.71 mega hash at 77 watts for an efficiency of 152 kilohash per watt on the TI. But now I'm gonna put power limit back to 100% and start overclocking to see what the highest hash rate we can get on these cards is. Alright, so the highest hash rates that I could get on these GPUs mining Ravencoin or FIRO is 12.6 mega hash on the 1660 regular at 129 watts for an efficiency of just under 100 kilohash per watt. On the Super we got 15.5 mega hash at 130 watts for an efficiency of 120 kilohash per watt. And on the TI we did 15.8 mega hash at 129 watts for an efficiency of 122 kilohash per watt. And so you can see the overclocks for the 1660 regular here, and here is the Super, and here is the TI. So now I'm going to power limit with these overclocks in place, and let's see what the best efficiency we can get with overclocks in place are. Okay, so we have put power limits in place now with the overclocks, and yeah, basically these are the best efficiencies that I was able to find after trying all different kinds of power limits for the cards. We are at, let's see here, 53% on both the 1660 regular and the 1660 Super, but we are at 62% on the TI. And so let me just show you the overclock settings quickly here. So this is for the 1660 regular, this is for the Super, and this is for the TI. And the hash rate we're getting is about 11.5 mega hash at 69 watts on the regular for an efficiency of 166 kilohash per watt. 11.8 mega hash per second at 70 watts for an efficiency on the Super at 171 kilohash per watt, and 12.4 mega hash at 80 watts on the TI for an efficiency of 155, 157 kilohash per watt, somewhere around there. But yeah, now let's try to lock the core clock instead and see if we can get a better result that way. Alright, so basically across the board locking the core clock was just worse. We saw the best result on the regular 1660, where we got 10.8 mega hash at 66 watts for an efficiency of 164 kilohash per watt. That was the best efficiency we were able to see, but that's still a bit worse than the 167 we saw through just regular overclocking and power limiting. And on the Super, we're getting 11.6 mega hash at 74 watts for a efficiency of 159 kilohash per watt, which of course is significantly worse than the 171 kilohash per watt we saw through, regular overclocking and power limiting. And finally, we have the TI, where we're getting 12.16 mega hash at 81 watts. That was the best efficiency I was able to find with absolute core clock, and that gives us an efficiency of 150 kilohash per watt, which is less than the 155 we were able to get through regular overclocking and power limiting. So basically, that is it for Ravencoin. Let's move over to Ergo. Alright, so this is Ergo now. We are running all just completely stock settings on everything, and we're getting 41.6 mega hash on the 1660 regular at 76 watts for an efficiency of 548 or so kilohash per watt. On the Super, we're getting 53.7 mega hash at 90 watts for an efficiency of 600 or so kilohash per watt. And on the TI, we are getting 49.3 mega hash at 100 watts for an efficiency of 492 kilohash per watt basically. And now I'm going to power limit with stock clocks to see what the best efficiency we can get that way is. Alright, so the best efficiency was basically just pulling the power limit as low as it will go on all three GPUs. So we are getting, well, we're pulling around 70 watts on all three of them, and we're getting 41.2 mega hash on the regular 1660, 52.8 on the Super, and 48.9 on the TI. And the efficiencies there is just below 600 kilohash per watt on the regular, 765 kilohash per watt on the Super, and 709 kilohash per watt on the TI. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's put power limit back to 100% and start overclocking instead. Alright, so overclocks are in place. I'm gonna run through them real quick on the screen here. So here you go, that is the 1660 Ti overclocks. This is for the Super, and this is for the regular 1660. And hash rates we are getting are 48.7 on the regular, 63.7 on the Super, and 59 on the TI. And power consumption is 80 watts on the regular, 93 watts on the Super, and 102 watts on the TI, for efficiencies of 587 kilohash per watt on the regular, 655 kilohash per watt on the Super, and 560 kilohash per watt on the TI. So now I'm going to start power limiting with these overclocks in place, and let's see what the best efficiency we can get that way is. Alright, so that was easy. Basically, best efficiency is just pulling the power limit all the way down as far as it will go on all three cards, and they're all pulling around 69-70 watts and giving the hash rate of 48.65 on the regular, 63.7 on the Super, and 59.2 on the TI. For efficiencies of 705 kilohash per watt on the regular, 923 kilohash per watt on the Super, and 858 kilohash per watt on the TI. But now, let's try locking the core clock instead of power limiting and see if we can get even better results that way. Alright, so using locked core clock was basically just better in every single way. We got better hash rate and or better efficiency for all GPUs. So basically, let's just run through it. We're getting 48.7 mega hash on the 1660 regular, we're getting 63.8 mega hash on the Super, and we are getting we're getting 60 mega hash flat on the TI. And as for power draw, we're doing 49 watts on the regular, 64 watts on the Super, and 67 watts on the TI. For efficiencies of 993 kilohash per watt on the regular, 1.01 megahash per watt on the Super, and 896 kilohash per watt on the TI. Now I'm going to show you my overclocks here real quick, so you can see this is the regular 1660 core clock locked at 1300 megahertz. Then we have the Super core clock locked at 1050 megahertz, and the TI core clock locked at 930 megahertz. But that is it for Ergo. Now let's move over to Flux. Alright, so we are up and mining Flux, and as is always the case with Flux, the hash rate fluctuates a little bit just because of how the algorithm works. But basically, at all stock settings, we are getting around 28.5 solutions per second on the 1660 regular. We are getting 30.7 on the Super and 30.7 on the TI as well, for efficiencies of 234 solutions per second per watt on the regular, 252 solutions per second per watt on the Super, and 244 solutions per second per watt on the TI. Now let's start to power limit with these stock clocks and see what the best efficiency we can get that way is. Alright, so again, best efficiency was with power limit pulled all the way down on all three cards basically. So all three cards power limit at 53%, and we're getting very similar hash rate on all of these cards. They're all basically at around 24.5 solutions per second, and they're all at around 70 watts, with giving them all basically the same efficiency of 0.355 solutions per second per watt. But now let's put overclocks in place and see what we get that way. Alright, so overclocks are in place, and let's just run through the hash rates we're getting. So we're getting around 30.5 to 31 solutions per second on the regular 1660. We are getting 33.5 solutions per second on the Super, and we are getting around 34 solutions per second on the TI. And that is all at around 125 watts pulled. So efficiency is 0.244 on the regular, 0.268 on the Super, and 0.272 on the TI. Now I'm just going to show you the overclocks on the screen here. So this is the TI, this is the Super, and this is the regular. Now I'm going to start power limiting with the overclocks in place to see what the best efficiency we can get that way is. Alright, so something interesting started to happen when I started power limiting with the overclocks in place, and that was that the GPUs started just crashing left and right. And turns out that like the overclocks that like these GPUs have managed to pull on all of the other algorithms, they are not able to pull on the Flux algorithm when you start to power limit them. So I actually had to downclock the overclocks a little bit in order to be able to power limit. But I have the new overclocks here. You can see this is the 1660 regular. Here we have the Super, and here we have the TI, and there you could see the most efficient power limits that I found as well, which was 53 for the regular and Super and 60 for the TI. And so that is giving us around 25 to 26 on the regular, around the same, like 25 or so on the Super, and 27 on the TI. But of course the TI is pulling about 7 watts more than the other two, so the final efficiency there is 0.371 for the regular, 0.364 on the Super, and 0.351 on the TI. Now let's try locked core clock instead and see if that gives us better results. Okay guys, so as has been the case with most of the cards that I've tested, locking the core clock for Flux mining was basically just worse. So I'm not going to include that in the spreadsheet at all. But speaking of the spreadsheet, we are done with all of our testing, so let's have a look at all of the results from today. Alright guys, I have all of our results up on the screen here. We have the 1660, 1660 Super, and 1660 Ti. So I figured let's just go through all of our results quickly, and then we'll have a look at profitability on what to mine. So on the 1660 regular, best hash rate we could get on Ethereum was 24.7, so just under 25. On the Super it was 32.7, and on the TI it was 31.2. So Super it comes out ahead a little bit there in terms of hash rate, but if we look at efficiency, it's all very close at around 450 or so kilo hashes per watt. But again, our Super comes out on top with 474 kilo hashes per watt. So that is it for Ethereum. Now let's have a look at Ravencoin, where we're getting 12.6 on the regular as highest hash rate, 15.5 on the Super, and 15.8 on the TI. So the TI beats the rest of them there by a small margin. Now when it comes to efficiency, basically we had to sacrifice not that much, about 1 mega hash on the regular, but we had to sacrifice 4 and 3.5 basically on the Super and TI respectively. And what's interesting is you get a little bit better efficiency on the Super than the regular at 171 versus 167 kilohash per watt, but they are basically at the same hash rate there at just around 11.5 mega hash, while the TI doesn't get as good efficiency at 155 kilohashes per watt, but the hash rate at that efficiency was a bit higher at 12.4. So that's just something interesting to note. Now moving on to Ergo. it was really straightforward. Locking the core clock gave you just best results overall. We're getting 48.7 mega hash on the regular, 63.8 on the Super, and 60 on the TI, for an efficiency of just under 1 mega hash per watt on the regular, just over 1 mega hash per watt on the Super, and around 900 kilo hash per watt on the TI. So the Super definitely comes out on top in terms of Ergo mining. And now for Flux, the highest hash rate we could get was 30.5 on the regular, 33.5 on the Super, and 34 on the TI. In terms of best efficiency, the winner there was actually the regular at 0.371, and on the Super we had just below that at 3.364, and in last place the TI at 0.354. So basically they are all very close in terms of everything, more or less. There's nowhere where there is like a significant win for any of them. Yeah, the Super is a bit more powerful and efficient on memory, like specific algorithms, and of course the regular is just kind of a bit slower on everything, but kind of holds his own when it comes to efficiency. And the TI of course is a little bit more powerful in terms of core specific algorithms like Raven and Flux, but is not as good efficiency wise for any of them. So I'm going to enter all of these numbers into what to mine, and then we'll have a look at profitability. Alright, so here we are on what to mine, and as you can see here I have all of the numbers plugged in for the regular 1660, so let's hit calculate and see our results. So on top, of course, we have Ethereum at $1.36 after electricity cost, which I've put at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. In second place we have Flux, making you exactly $1 a day after electricity costs. We then have Firo at 78 cents per day. We have Ravencoin closely following at 76 cents per day. We then have Ergo at 66 cents per day, and then just a random Ethash coin LASM at 59 cents per day, and then finally Ethereum Classic at 59 cents per day. Then moving over to the Super, we got Ethereum at $1.82 per day on top. Then we have Flux at just under $1 a day at 98 cents. We then have Ergo at 87 cents, Firo at 80 cents, Ethereum Classic at 80 cents as well, Ravencoin at 78 cents, and finally, well, that's it basically, I guess. Then we have the 1660 Ti, where we're getting $1.73 per day on Ethereum, and that's the most profitable one. We are then getting $1.02 a day on Flux, 83 cents a day on Firo, and 80 cents per day on Ravencoin. And finally, we're also getting 80 cents a day for Ergo. Oh, and we also have 76 cents per day on Ethereum Classic. But yeah, that is basically it in terms of profitability. Alright, that's it. So now, if you found this helpful or entertaining, I guess, then please give the video one of these. I'd really appreciate it. And what you gotta do now is you gotta click on the next video on the screen. Because this video is over, you can also click the picture of my face, so subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, go click on that next video and I'll see you there. Goodbye. Bye bye. Goodbye, bye bye.